One of these men was the defendant in the most famous court trial of this century. What is your name, please?
My name is John Thomas Scopes.
What is your name, please?
My name is John Thomas Scopes.
What is your name, please?
My name is John Thomas Scopes.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real John Thomas Scopes and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. And now, here is our host, Bud Collyer.
Thank you very much. Welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Dristan Nasal Mist for relief of sinus congestion and head cold miseries. Now may I introduce our panel. First, Mr. Tom Poston. Then, Miss Kitty Carlisle. Next, Mr. Don Amici. And finally, Miss Polly Bergen. And an added welcome to our mystery guest, Mr. Bob Hope. Now, panel, will you please open your envelopes, take out your affidavit cards, and follow along as I read. Was the defendant in the famous monkey trial, which stirred the country in 1925. It was called the monkey trial because it was a legal test of a Tennessee statute forbidding teaching Darwin's theory of evolution. Although I am not a native of Tennessee, I was a high school teacher in the state at the time. The prosecuting attorney was the three-time presidential candidate William Jennings Bryan, and defending me was the brilliant trial lawyer Clarence Darrow. The trial was the subject of a recent hit Broadway play, now made into a motion picture. Its title, Inherit the Wind, signed John Thomas Scopes. All right, panel, you heard these three distinguished gentlemen all claiming to be John Thomas Scopes of the famous Scopes trial. Let's begin this questioning with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. Mr. Scopes, number 3, I wonder, could you tell us who directed the Broadway play, Inherit the Wind?
I don't know who directed it.
Do you happen to know number 2?
No, I don't remember.
Number 1, maybe you would remember who directed the Broadway play, Inherit the Wind.
No, I did not see the play.
Thank you. Number 2, who played the part of Mr. Bryan on Broadway? Do you happen to remember that?
I believe it was Ed Begley.
Thank you. Number 2, could I ask you what color were the real Mr. Darrow's suspenders?
Pink.
Number 3, do you agree with that?
I don't remember.
Number 2, could you tell me how did you happen to get counsel? How did Mr. Darrow happen to defend you?
I believe William Jennings Bryan offered the prosecution help. And Darrow, being an old opponent of his, thought he'd take up the challenge.
I see. Thank you.
Kitty?
Number 3, who played Darrow in Inherit the Wind?
In the movie or the play?
In the play.
The play, Muni, Paul Muni.
Number 1, can you tell me how this whole thing started? The trial, what touched it off?
Well, there was a law passed in the state of Tennessee forbidding the teaching of anything contradictory to the teaching of the Bible as to the origin of man.
Thank you. Number 2, can you tell me what animal has been described as the thing that Mr. Darwin... By the way, where did Mr. Darwin get his data? Do you know how long did it take?
His what?
The data for his famous book.
Well, a man named Marshall.
Number 3, how long did it take him?
Don Amici.
Number 2, where did Darrow come from?
Chicago.
Number 3, what time of the year was this trial?
In July.
Number 1, how long did it last?
About 11 days.
Number 2, how long were you out of teaching?
I was out since May 25th.
Until when?
I never went back.
Number three. What other trial was Clarence Darrow famous for?
The trial in Chicago, the two Frank boys, I believe.
Number one, where?
Polly?
Number one, what was the outcome of the trial?
I was found guilty and fined $100.
Number three, did you pay the money?
No.
Number two, did you pay the money?
No.
Why not?
Supreme Court ruled it out.
I see. Number one, who plays Mr. Darrow in the movie? Number two, do you know?
No,
Spencer Tracy.
I beg your pardon?
Spencer Tracy.
Number three, what was the basic argument in the difference between Darrow's defense and Brian's prosecution?
If I understand you correctly, Brian was trying to uphold what he interpreted as the origin of man in the Bible.
That's about it. We have to leave the other side of it in abeyance at the moment because it's time to vote and mark your ballots. If you will, please, panel, without consultation, mark them, and when you do so, vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Team of challengers will, of course, get the usual $250 for every incorrect vote. Everyone voted? Okay, Tom, for whom did you vote?
Bud, I voted for number 3. I thought that number 2 answered a lot of questions very, very well, but perhaps it was because he was so carefully briefed by the experts here on teaching people to lie.
Kitty, which one did you select?
I voted for number 3. I felt that number 1 was a beat young, and number 2 answered beautifully, but number 3 had the kind of a bulldog, courageous look of a man who would do this, and I must say it's a great honor to meet whichever one is Mr. Scopes.
Don, your vote?
I voted for number 3 for the reasons that Tom and Kitty gave.
You're riding their coattails, eh? All right, Polly, for reasons of your own?
I will have to disqualify myself.
Oh?
What? No, I wasn't at the trial. Very good. But I recently read an article, and in the article was a picture of Mr. Scopes returning and looking at the sign of the place in Tennessee where the famous trial took place, and I'm fairly sure that I recognize Mr. Scopes from the picture.
Okay, Polly, we'll disqualify your vote then. That will count as a wrong vote when we come to totaling up the score. All right, there we...
You do understand that I...
Perfectly. You weren't there.
Yes.
And you... All right. Now, with our mind made up, let's see how yours is as we discover which one of these gentlemen is the real John Thomas Scopes of the famous Scopes trial. Will the real John Thomas Scopes please stand up? Well done,
It's
panel.
like meeting an historical monument. It really is.
Monster, did you say?
I said historical monument.
Monument sounds almost as bad, doesn't it, in its own way? But it wasn't meant that way, that I'm sure. All right, about you other
Kitty didn't
gentlemen.
mean that you were there your own age. She meant like a teenager or something.
Oh, I understand.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Yes, like you were in your early 20s, is what you
Yeah.
meant.
Something
I'd like to ask Polly who she thought Mr. Scopes was.
Who did you think Mr. Scopes
No,
was?
I haven't.
She did, all right. Number 1, did you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Darrow, Charles Darrow, and I work for the New York Telephone Company.
Thank you, Mr. Darrow. And number 2, your real name and what you do, please.
I'm an insurance agent for the Ethnic Casualty and Surety Company, and my name is William Jennings Brown.
Oh, no! Wow, there's
Tom
a
says
job.
I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Now they're casting these things. Well, gentlemen, thanks to Polly's disqualification, it totals up to only one, but still one incorrect vote at $250 from Dristan. And on your way out, a gift package of all of the fine products from the makers of Dristan. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night. God bless you. The next team of challengers now.
What is your name, please?
My name is Debbie Drake.
What is your name, please?
My name is Debbie Drake.
What is your name, please?
My name is Debbie Drake.
Panel, if you can put your eyeballs back in their sockets and follow along with your copies of this affidavit. I, Debbie Drake, am a television performer. My syndicated show concerns itself with keeping ladies in the proper shape. Having once operated a chain of reducing salons, I am considered an expert on diet, calories, and on figure control. As part of my 15-minute daily program, I demonstrate setting up exercises and answer questions from viewers, such as, how can I fatten up my skinny arms? How can I stop biting my nails? What is the best posture for sleeping? And what are some good exercises for flat feet? Signed, Debbie Drake. Three charming young ladies this time, panel, as you heard them all claiming to be Debbie Drake, television exercise girl. And let me start this round of questioning with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty? Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. I want to say to start with that I don't think any one of them is, because these ladies must be witches and prevaricators. They couldn't tell anybody how to have figures like that. Not anybody. They were born that way. But I would like to ask a few questions on my own. I'm not interested in skinny arms, biting my nails, or posture for sleeping, but how do you reduce your derriere, number one?
Well, with an exercise.
Derriere is what the lady said, the derriere. Translate yourself.
By doing a lot of repetitions of a certain hip exercise.
And you really think it can be done?
Yes.
Number two, do you have any advice on skin care? You seem to have very pretty skin.
Yes, I do. Of
Do
course.
you believe in washing your face? No, I'm serious. I think it dries it quite often. Do you?
No, I do not wash my face. I cream it, you see.
Don Amici.
Number 3, how many calories a day can you eat and not gain weight?
Well, depending on how strenuous a diet you really need to go on.
I said you.
Me?
Yes.
I like to stay within about 1,000, 1,200 a day.
How many calories can you eat a day and not gain weight, number 1?
About 1,800, 15 to 1,800.
Number 2?
2,000.
Number 2, how much walking would you have to do to lose 1 pound of weight, or what is the accepted theory of how many miles you must walk to lose 1 pound of weight?
To lose 1 pound
Yes.
of weight? 4 miles.
Number 3?
I wouldn't walk at all to lose weight.
No.
I'd swim.
Polly? Polly?
If you don't like to walk and you can't swim, what do you do now? Number 1, what would you do?
I would watch the Debbie Drake show.
Oh.
Very good. Number 2, this is nothing personal, but what's a good exercise for flat feet?
Well, there are several. The best one, of course, is walking on the outside of your feet, and also to pick up objects with your toes, say marbles.
No, I don't have flat toes. It's just
well, the picking up of marbles curves your arch and your
I
instep.
see.
And
Tom Poston, please.
Thank you. Number 1, do you know what the lats are?
yeah, right here.
Thank you. Number 2, how do you make a bridge?
I beg your pardon?
How do you make a bridge?
Oh, well, on my show, I call that the pussycat, where you arch your back and you pull in your abdomen as hard as you can, and then relax. It's perfect for conditioning.
Try it, Tom, but right now you have to vote, I'm afraid. So without consultation or doing any bridges, will you kindly mark your ballot? And as you do so, select number 1, number 2, or number 3. Okay. All ballots marked?
no.
No? Please hurry. Pretty please. There we are. Okay, Tom, for whom did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 1, Bud. She knew where the lats were. That's right, by the way. And I have a funny picture of Antonino Rocco or somebody doing a wrestler's pussycat in the middle of a match. Even though that may be what she calls it on her show, I still voted for number 1.
Kitty?
Well, I voted for number 2. First place, I approve of her not washing her face. And second place, her voice sounded like the sort of voice that one gets instruction from on television.
Don, your vote, please.
I voted for number 1, I guess principally because number 2 said 4 miles to lose 1 pound of weight, and number 3 wouldn't answer the question, and I've always understood it was approximately 36 miles that you had to walk.
And Polly?
Well, where am I? Oh, yes. I voted for number 1. As you can see, I almost voted for number 2. But the 2,000 calories sounded a little high to me, too. It may not be for her personally, but it would be a little high for me. It was very close between 1 and 2. I just had a feeling that it was 2, so I voted for number 1.
You must remember I do an awful lot of exercise.
Okay, there we have it now. The votes are in, the minds have been up, and are yours. Let's see how well you did as we discover which one of these young ladies is the real television exercise girl. Will the real Debbie Drake please stand up? Thank you, Debbie, very much.
Yes, of course.
Almost 3 at the end there, didn't they, huh?
Oh.
Number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do?
My name is Elaine DeRossi. I'm married, mother of 2 little girls, nurse here in New York City, and a college student.
Wow, there's a full-time schedule if I ever heard one. Oh, bless you. And number 3, your real name and what you do, please.
I'm Eileen Sharon, and I'm a housewife and mother of a little boy, and I live here in New York City.
Oh, I know her. I know number 3.
You know number 3?
And I know her husband, Erwin Sharon, very, very well.
Well, I didn't recognize me. You didn't recognize me tonight.
No, I've never seen you with so many clothes on.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Check the score. We find there was only 1 incorrect vote, as in the first round, for $250 from Tristan, and a gift box of fine products from the makers of Tristan for each of you. Thank you very much, ladies. Good night. I hope you had fun. We did. Panel, let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Clifford Iknockanock.
What is your name, please?
My name is Clifford Iknockanock.
What is your name, please?
My name is Clifford Iknockanock.
Pay attention once again to this affidavit, panel, if you will, please. I, Clifford Iknockanock, am a sergeant first class in the Eskimo Scout Battalion of the Alaska National Guard. My home is on St. Lawrence Island, which lies midway between Alaska and Siberia. I hunt and fish for a living. One day, a disabled Navy plane crash-landed on a remote part of our island. In our native skin boats, we brought the injured crew members to safety. For my part in the rescue, I was called to Washington, D.C., and was awarded Gold Aviator's Wings by the Navy. Signed, Clifford Iknockanock. Three stalwart gentlemen this time, panel, each claiming, as you heard, to be Clifford Iknockanock, Eskimo Scout. And we start this round with Polly Bergen. Polly?
I knew you would because I don't know very much about Eskimos or Alaska, but...
Igloos?
Igloos or anything. Number 2, what is the name of the peninsula that sticks out up at the top of Alaska toward Siberia?
Aleutian Islands.
I beg your pardon?
The Aleutian Islands.
Thank you. Number 3, what is the town, the name of the town that is the farthest extended on the Aleutian Islands?
Nome.
I beg your pardon?
Nome.
Nome. Number 1, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Number 3, what is the name of the big highway now that runs up through to Alaska?
The Alaskan Highway.
I beg your pardon?
The Alaskan Highway.
Tom?
Oh, thank you. Number 2, can you tell me what is flensing?
I don't know.
Do you happen to know number 3, flensing?
Fencing could mean lots of things in our language.
Number 1, what does flensing mean? Do you happen to know? Flensing.
I don't know.
Just a question.
You
Tell me,
flense with
number
swords,
2,
don't you?
Number 2, how is leather softened traditionally by the Eskimo?
Well, it's normally by, the old saying is by chewing.
Thank you. Number 2, could you... Kitty?
Number 2, do you believe that Nome is the farthest north, that point where they said?
No, it's not.
No. Number 3, could you tell me how far is Alaska from Siberia at the closest point?
37.5 miles, I believe.
Number 1, the penguins in the north, do you see them very often?
Yes.
You do. Number 2, do you see penguins up there?
Yes.
And is it true that the male hatches the egg?
No,
No, the female hatches the egg.
yes.
And she sits on it how long?
For about 5 days.
Is that all?
Mm-hmm.
I've been misled. Well, number 3, what do you hunt when you hunt?
What do we hunt when we hunt? Well, we hunt seal, birds, game, anything like
What
that.
kind of game?
Well, we can have reindeer, anything we want.
And Don Amici.
Number 1, what is the skeleton of these skin boats made of?
Walrus hide.
The skeleton.
The framework, in other words.
Framework.
Framework is wood.
Number 2,
It's made out of oak.
made out of oak. Number 3, who is the National Guard under? What
National
branch
Guard.
of the service?
I mean, our service now?
The National Guard.
Under the, Madam.
Number 1.
Department of the Army.
Number 2, what is does the temperature of the water vary at your home winter and summer?
Yes, it does.
How much?
Oh, approximately 20 degrees.
That's it. For the variation of the temperature, we'll have to calm our own and write down our ballots, if you will, panel. In so doing, vote, as always, for number 1, or number 2, or number 3. Okay, has everyone marked their ballots? Fast this time, it looks
I'm
like.
really-
Tom, are you ready?
No, I'm really, I'm now.
You're not?
I am now, yes.
Okay. For whom did you vote?
Well, I did vote for number 1, but it had to be on such a strong hunch because unless he misunderstood the question, he did say that he agreed that Nome was the farthest north in the Alaskan. I tell you, I voted for number 1, but I probably made a fool of myself.
Kitty.
Well, I feel exactly the same way because I didn't vote for number 1. I think it's number 1. But he also, the only one who said he disagreed with the other 2 was number 2. And that means that he's got to be the right one, but he doesn't look Alaskan to me. He looks more Chinese. So I don't know.
Don?
I voted for number 2, and I've been sitting here while Kitty and Tom are answering, trying to figure out why, and I still haven't figured it out.
And Polly?
Well, I voted for number 2. I don't know the furthest town out on the Aleutian Atoll, but I don't think it's Nome. I didn't know the name of it, but they both just happened to give me a name that I am familiar with, and I don't believe that's right, so I voted for number 2, and I'll probably give up the fact that I know very little about geography.
All right, let's find out whether you do or not. We'll discover right now which of these 3 gentlemen is the brave young man who was decorated in Washington and is the real Eskimo Scout. So will the real Clifford Iknokinok please stand up? Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. You may be seated. And now, let's find out about number 2, who got all the votes. First time anybody's really fooled the panel tonight. What is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Dick Comini. I'm from Hawaii. I own the DK Photo Supply, a camera shop in New York City.
Thank you, sir. And number 3, your real name and what you really do.
My name is Bernard Aureus. I am the manager of the Luau 400 on 57th Street and 1st Avenue, Polynesian restaurant.
Well, we thank you, gentlemen, and we checked to find that this time there were 1, 2, 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a grand total of $750 from Dristan and the gift package of all of the fine products made by the makers of Dristan. Thank you so much for being with us. Good night and good luck. But do you have a question?
Yes, I just wanted to know, is Nome the furthest out? I know we're in a hurry.
I don't know.
Is it?
Where is
Mr.
Nome?
Knockenoff?
Yes, it is one of the furthest, I believe.
Is it the furthest
My kid
out?
told me today.
One of the first.
I see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and my best to the Penguins of the North Pole. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. Good night, panel.
Good night, Bud.
Bud Collier saying good night for Dristan and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everyone.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network. This week's show has been brought to you by Dristan Decongestant Cough Medicine. Stops coughing due to colds or bronchial irritation. This is Roger Foster saying good night from Tell the Truth. The preceding program was pre-recorded.